Well, I'm really here supporting TAPS and all the good, I've seen so much of the good work that they've done throughout the veterans community. Generally that's where they've been doing their work. But the fact that they're able to expand their expertise to, we talked about it a lot, that, grief and illness are really isolating when they occur. And, unfortunately, when people feel that isolation, they tend not to reach out or even know what to do. And there's so much confusion and how am I supposed to be grieving? And sadly, it's one of those fields where there isn't a lot of expertise within it. And fortunate or unfortunately, TAPS has this incredible wealth of experience and compassion when it comes to grief, and they're the experts. And the fact that they're expanding that base beyond just military families is, I think, a really exciting development, because it's not as though we are all going, everybody experiences it, but not very many people know what to do with it and how to grieve, as they do individually, but feel that ability to hold tight to the people that they lost, but also still make the best of the time that they have.
And with first responders and military, you've really taken, the lead in trying to help out those organizations that represent people in the military and first responders. I'm sure you have a lot of people in different charities trying to pull you in. Why do you take an added interest into first responders and the military?
I think I'm drawn to try and support people that, give of themselves so selflessly. It's an unusual individual that, when you hear the sounds of trouble, that actually move towards it rather than away from it. I'm generally I just have to be faster than the least fastest person. But I'm also struck by there's a stoicism within those communities, and they don't often reach out for help when they need it. And I think too often we depend on them, and yet when the time comes for them to depend on us, we're not there for them. And so I try and take a little bit of stake in helping push along that idea in that environment, that the least that we can do for them is to repay their service and their selflessness with support.
And we have organizations like this which don't use a dollar of taxpayer dollar of money.
Right.
And yet, do you think more should be coming out of the government when it comes to supporting?
Hey, listen, I'd love to see that. I mean, I don't know that there's a more vital, group working than for military families, and now for just families in general. The fact that I hate the idea that they ever have to struggle for finance or to put their programs up. So the other thing that I think is important is the efficacy of it. They know what they're doing. And the idea that expertise can somehow be amplified would be an incredible thing. And it would be, listen, we spend money incredibly frivolously in many different areas, and then we quibble over nickels and dimes when it comes to really important areas. And I think this is a really important area.
I wanted to ask you real quick about the 9/11 program and
Right.
what's being proposed in the budget. Obviously, you were talking about that today, and talk
Yes.
about the impacts there and your feelings on it.
It's hard to discuss my feelings without using general longshoreman language. It's an outrage. And these are individuals that during 9/11 were there for us in extraordinary ways, and they spent 9 months on a smoldering, pile of toxicity looking for their brothers and sisters and trying to bring some sense of peace to the families. And the illnesses and injuries that they suffered from that, they've had to fight their own government for going on 15 years now, and they fought for 9 years just to get health programs recognized. 5 years later, they had to fight to get it renewed. And now, just as the program has brought some peace of mind, just as the program has brought some level of exhale to these individuals and their families, they're going to try and pull some bureaucratic shenanigans that throw it into disarray again. And you know, the sad thing is, even if ultimately we're able to bring enough pressure to bear that it doesn't happen, damage has been done in that the stress and unease that 9/11 community members feel now is palpable. Now that once again they're back on uncertain ground, and it's just not acceptable. It's really not acceptable.